through some opening remarks and just to kind of, make sure we're all good. Tammy, I'm going to make sure you are hitting record so we know that this is being recorded. And for anybody who does want to ask a question, you're more than welcome to put it into chat. Tammy will be my eyes on the chat. And if you have a question, we're also going to ask that you stay on mute during the duration. If you do want to ask a question to anybody who's speaking, go ahead, take yourself off of mute. While we have a Q&A at the end of this, if it's important and you do want to ask the questions, by all means, we want to make this as interactive and worthwhile as we can to get the questions answered in the right amount of time. So I do want to welcome, we're supposed to have about 32 people on the call today. Our manufacturers online, or at least that signed up to attend, are Duraline, Beckett Corp, Norlake, General Plug, HydroTube, Crane, Togus, Component Repair, Agronomics, WaterEdge, AJ Rose, Betcher, Green Circle Growers, Avient, Riddell, and Meter Marker Manufacturing. So I want to welcome all of you for coming on this Zoom call today. And I also want to thank the co-presenters. You can see all the logos there at the bottom. Besides myself, my name is Tony Gallo. I'm president of Lorain County Chamber of Commerce, in case you don't know who I am. We also have Mike Longo from Ohio Means Jobs, Lorain County. From the Lorain County Manufacturing Sector Partnership, we've got Judith Crocker, who's representing Lorain County Community College. We've got a few people, Bernie and Tony Schweppe. And then we have, I also want to point out Lorain County JVS, Christian Smith. And then we have representatives from our Lorain County Community Development team. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. This is a quick overview of what the agenda is going to be for today. We're going to try and keep it definitely to an hour. Obviously, welcome, meeting goals, challenges, solutions, marketing. We're going to hear a little bit about what the Lorain County Manufacturing Sector Partnership is, how it could possibly help you as a manufacturer. We're going to get into JVS, Lorain County Community College, and Betcher is going to talk a little bit about Earn and Learn, and then some funding options that you may or may not realize are out there and that you could be taking advantage of. And then, as I said, Q&A, by all means, if you do have something that you do want to ask, stop, unmute yourself, and ask those questions. So just to kind of get started here, I mean, obviously, I'm not telling you anything that you don't already know. COVID-19 has been made for this last year to be very difficult and very interesting at the same time. The disruptions that have taken place here in Lorain County have happened across the world. So obviously we are not immune to what is happening everywhere. But one of the main things is the day-to-day operations disruptions of our Lorain County and Ohio manufacturers. This is in-demand jobs week. Manufacturers are one of our main in-demand jobs here locally. Obviously, again, you realize that since the beginning of the outbreak, large and small manufacturers considered our essential businesses have had to establish distance protocol, sanitizing, face coverings, upgrades to their HVAC system in order to keep their workers safe and working. They've had it the worst probably for the longest amount of time, and we realize that even the breaks in your supply chains has made things difficult too. But despite all of that, the one thing that has never changed is that you guys have needed more manufacturer workers to fill your talent pipeline. The pandemic has obviously affected that even more so. We've had people who have retired earlier than normal because they don't want to deal with the COVID-19 protocols. And then unemployment benefits have thrown another wrench into it, as it's been difficult for workers to get hired. Even before COVID-19, it was estimated that nearly 2.4 million manufacturing jobs nationwide would be unfilled by 2028. Because manufacturing represents nearly 1/5 of Ohio's GDP, contributing more than $112 billion, that's with a B, dollars a year, more than any other sector in our state, the workforce shortage is a direct threat to our economy, especially here in Lorain County. Manufacturers face critical challenges to their ability to fill open positions, including the perception of what it is to the younger workforce. Obviously, many young people don't see manufacturing as exciting, while parents often dissuade them from exploring manufacturing careers. Combined with fewer young people in the K through 12 grades means there are less of them available and more competition to attract the workers to your manufacturing jobs. What can we do to ensure manufacturing sector now and into the future and change the perception of manufacturing as while we're here today? So some of the solutions that we'd like to talk about today and is really just the need to explain the economic impact that manufacturing has on our economy here locally. You can see by those numbers there, for every $1 spent in manufacturing, another 279 is added to our local economy. How and where we reach out to is key to making the solutions productive. And that is what we're going to try and do during not just In-Demand Jobs Week, but Manufacturing Month and every other chance that we get the opportunity to talk highly about our manufacturing sector here. This is our time. This is the time our manufacturing community needs to reach the next generation of workers and their parents, as well as any of those career switchers who've been hit hardest and been affected negatively by COVID-19, which includes women who have actually been hit the hardest during all of this. We need to take the time to provide upskilling and training during the unemployment programs so that when the benefits end in September, job skills will allow them to enter the manufacturing world. How do we do this? Well, marketing is what we're trying to do for the most part, especially for these entry-level employees. The message we send to potential workforce will provide the marketing needed to fill the open jobs. The message comes from the manufacturer as well as the partners who are on the. Young people have a different value and mindset, and while they seek fun, food, family, and friends, as you see written there, most have the want to make the world a better place and want to feel that their work is worthwhile. COVID-19 has proven the need for our expanded manufacturing services here in the US and provides lofty expectations for them as well. Manufacturing careers must be branded as fulfilling, well-paid, diverse, and debt-free options to this group. Not to mention plentiful and local for them to find something that they like to do and see as a way to rapidly progress within a company and in turn become the best marketing a manufacturer could have. A happy employee talking about how much they love their job. We're continually working with our local schools to focus on the need for STEM skills. The importance of science, technology, engineering, and math education means today's students must have a knowledge and have the skills to work in modern manufacturing, including robotics and automation technologies. But they are fast learners and know technology better than any other generation that has been out there. Our messaging has been consistent. Today's manufacturing is different than the manufacturing that was taking place when Lorain County was founded 200 years ago. All these manufacturing all these organizations here are on the call today, and that's what we're going to be talking about. Locally, we have our Lorain County Manufacturing Sector Partnership, led by local manufacturing leaders to foster more collaboration among our local manufacturers, as well as their education and workforce partners. We're working with our local educational partners to institute workforce training programs, including Earn and Learn, Scaling Apprenticeships, short-term and contract training, to name a few. Likewise, we'll also be working with the above partners and Ohio Means Jobs, Lorain County, and Jobs Ohio to help pay for incumbent worker training via TechCred which encourages employers to upskill workers with industry-recognized credentials. The Chamber has partnered with Lorain County Community College and the Sector Partnership to promote the Earn and Learn model and Scaling Apprenticeships to train 5,000 Ohioans in the manufacturing sector over the next 4 years. Special emphasis is being placed on recruiting women, minorities, veterans, and ex-offenders to boost local talent pipelines. Growing Lorain County manufacturing workforce is key to our economy and something that our economic development partners, elected officials, and workforce development leaders all agree upon. We are here to help you and to make these talent needs a positive for you, our residents in Lorain County as a whole. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Larry Sanson. He's president of Togus Products. Larry is actually on the chamber board, and he is president of the sector partnership, Larry, what are you? Are you the board chair of the sector partnership?
Actually, Molly and Ryan
Okay.
representing that part, and I think Aaron is on as well.
Okay.
I'm a former board member, had to step down just because of
Okay.
priorities. But thank you very much for the introduction, and thanks everyone for joining this morning. I just wanted to take a few moments to share with you what we're all about, what our mission is, what our objectives are, and just introduce you to the partnership. Because as Tony stated, as you think about Ohio particularly, and more across the nation, we're all fighting for the same resources, right? We have a war on talent, and I really think our model is more about coming together to create solutions for all versus competing with one another with the same employee base to try to solve our problems. 14,000 manufacturing companies across Ohio. Just think about that. And there's a lot of capacity out there, which means there's a lot of demand for the employee base that we have within the area. 700,000 Ohioans working in manufacturing currently. That's a tremendous amount of employees. And when you think about those employees and they're earning about $62,000 a year, wow, that sounds pretty attractive. Now, how do we get that awareness and create some exposure to the next generation coming up that manufacturing can be a way of the future? And not only the base wage, but 92% of all employees working in the manufacturing arena receive some form of healthcare, vacation, and I can speak for us, and I think many others, we are willing to pay for upscaling you in terms of your training. We're willing to invest in you because you are our future. So to just be repetitive, we want to work together with all manufacturers across Lorain County to just harmonize and get leverage of scale to assist us with all solving the same problem, which is the war on talent. So to give you a little bit of a background on Lorain County Manufacturing Sector Partnership, we were established in the fourth quarter of 2018. When you think about that, right, and I'm going to use COVID as a little bit of an excuse, we haven't been around that long, right? I mean, 2020 was a difficult year just in terms of coming together and making things happen. And we did everything like this, not usually the most pleasant and somewhat of a challenge. We are currently made up of 7 manufacturing companies. That includes Absolute Machine Tools, Advanced Polymer Coatings, AJ Rose Manufacturing Company, Betcher Industries, Multi-Link, Rigid, and Togas. So a nice core foundation. Candidly, we're looking for more because we need the resources to push our agenda across the county. Not only are we supported by those 7 manufacturing companies, but we also have 6 affiliate members, which provides a tremendous amount of resources in terms of marketing and communication. And those include the Educational Service Center of Lorain County, Lorain County Community College, Lorain County Chamber of Commerce, Lorain County JVS, Lorain High School, and Ohio Means Jobs Lorain County. So a nice group of membership that really assists us in pushing our agenda out. When you think about our organization at a high level, we really only have 2 things from a mission standpoint. And Tony mentioned this earlier, and it's about creating awareness about manufacturing as a career option. Think about the statistics that both of us shared when we started this conversation off. There's a tremendous amount of capacity and needs out there. And secondly, we want to attract, develop, and retain qualified employees to meet our current and future needs. And candidly, that's what it's all about. And for me, being selfish, we have many openings here, and if we cannot fulfill that pipeline up, we don't have a thriving business, and it's very important for us. We've identified 3 goals as a partnership: to partner with regional educators to assist with curriculum development to meet industry needs. We want to establish relationships with workforce development and social service agencies to prepare job seekers. And lastly, to serve as the intermediary between manufacturers, educators, and training and workforce groups to get our mission and objectives across. And as I reflect a little bit, as I think about what we've been able to accomplish over the last couple of years, it has been difficult, but we've really been able to accomplish some pretty exciting things. We have created awareness for partner companies on how to access training funds, and Ryan's going to talk about that because there are dollars out there that we can all leverage. We've partnered with LCC on reduced rates for training certification programs. That's going to become public pretty soon. It's not out there yet, but the college has done a tremendous job working with us to help us make it affordable. We are one of 12 partnerships in Ohio to receive a grant. Ours was about $100,000 to enable us to operate. So you think about that, somebody recognizes our worthiness and has been willing to invest in us, and we're really excited about that. One of the things we did early on is we had a partnership skills gap analysis that we shared with the college, LCC, to illustrate what our needs were as organizations so they could develop training programs to align with that. And we've tried to have virtual and real open houses to create a forum for people, specifically younger students, to see what manufacturing is all about. Because manufacturing today is not what it was in the past. Candidly, you walk into our place, you will hear music playing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's clean, it's fresh, it's fun, and it's an environment that we feel if we can get people to come in and look at it, they're willing to stay. So to just close down, those manufacturers that are on the line, if you want to learn more about our organization, the information is posted. We have a website. Feel free to log on, seek and solicit some information, and we would love for you to join us. Thanks, Tony, for the time.
Thanks, Larry. For those of you who are looking at the screen right there, this is one of the brochures that we worked on for the Lorain County Manufacturing Sector Partnership. This one is actually designed for students. There is also one for manufacturers. We are going to send these to everybody who is online, so you can print them off, utilize as you see fit as well too. If anybody has a question for Larry, speak now, or you can write it in the chat, or we can handle that at the end of this. If there are no questions, I'm going to turn it over to Christian Smith from Lorain County JVS.
Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone's having a great day. My name is Christian Smith. I'm the director of the Adult Career Center here at the JVS, and been in this role for a few years now. And I still have a lot to learn about manufacturing in Lorain County and across the country, but it's an exciting, it is an exciting world out there. And, like I said, lots to learn in manufacturing. I'd like to share with everyone that's on the call today some of the things about Lorain County JVS and some of the programs that we offer. Tony, are you going to put that slide up?
Yeah, I'm having a little trouble here.
That's technical. That's all right.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and the same thing happened when Larry was speaking. I apologize.
Hey, Tony.
That's all good.
Yes.
Hey, Tony.
So,
Yes. Go ahead, Bernie.
There's a really faint white arrow that kind of blends in the bottom left of your screen that'll help you advance those slides. Keep going down. There it is.
Oh, I see. Oh, there you go. Boy, thanks, Bernie.
there it is. Awesome. So, the Lorain County JVS has been around. We're coming up on our 50-year anniversary coming up. So we're excited about that. And we've been doing lots of great things. In the Adult Career Center and the high school, we have a precision machine technologies program. And I know that has been a feeder for many manufacturing companies around Lorain County for years. And we're excited to still be a part of that and working with that. Through that program, students can earn NIMS credentials as well as OSHA certifications. We also have a welding and fabrication class in both the high school and the Adult Career Center. Students earn the AWS qualifications through that. We're excited about starting a new program in the fall. It's going to be called the Supply Chain Automation Service Technician Program, which is designed to give students a kind of a well-rounded skill set for maintenance like more of a industrial maintenance type of technician class, hydraulics, pneumatics, things like that. So we're excited about getting that class up and running, as well as we do a full gamut of customized and contract training, as you can see in the list there. So if there's any opportunities that you need some customized or contract training, we can do that for your current employees and or company. We also work with several organizations across the county with their apprenticeship program and train some of the related coursework for the apprenticeship program. We are not the apprenticeship sponsor, but we do some of the training for those companies here at the JVS. One of the things that's really exciting that I don't know if you can see on that slide, or you can see on the slide, are student outcomes. We have great student outcomes at the JVS. If a student comes out and they're in a program, chances are they're going to finish, and chances are they're going to have a job, or they're going to be working after they finish and or continue into post-secondary employment. And the success is really, I think that's one of the greatest things about the JVS is it's a school of choice. Students choose to come here and they say, this is what I want to do. And they're excited about what they're getting into. And so we have lots of opportunities. One of the I wouldn't say a new program because it's been around for a long time, but our 9th and 10th grade program, which I think is going to be on one of the slides coming up, is a potential source to really kind of reach out to the younger generation and talk to them about what manufacturing could or should look like, or what it could be for them. A program that's not on here that I know feeds somewhat into the manufacturing world is the Project Lead the Way program, which we also have that as one of the programs that we work with as well. So thank you for the continued support of the JVS, and we look forward to working with you for all your needs. If there's any questions.
Nope. Okay, let me see if I can. Bernie, are you speaking to this? All right, I'll turn it over to Bernie from Lorain County Community College now.
Hi, everyone. Happy to be here with you today. As we think about talent, we know that there are fewer high school students, and so how can we attract others to these great careers in manufacturing? The veterans, through the COVID Relief Act that just went into law in March, there's new funding for veterans for training opportunities, and it will even cover a portion of their housing. So that's certainly something to be considered. Ex-offenders, there's excellent work going on all over Ohio to connect ex-offenders with careers in manufacturing, and we're finding that manufacturers are really open to that. The research has shown that those folks are really loyal, and they are really valued employees. And we do have some examples that we could maybe do at a different date, through a webinar like this, of companies who have utilized ex-offenders to fill their talent needs. Women, we know that women have stayed on the sidelines for this entire year. Many women have, because of the needs of getting their children educated while at home. So is this an opportunity to get those women who are in retail and hospitality jobs that were low paying and were not careers? Is this an opportunity to inform them about in-demand careers right here in Lorain County? There's a program that we are going to be launching at Lorain County Community College called Wise Pathways. It's Women in Sustainable Employment, and it's informing these women of careers in manufacturing and in other occupations that relate to manufacturing, such as IT and supply chain. So more to come on that, but we feel that that's a really great pipeline for manufacturers. Then there's other underrepresented populations that could be connected by community-based organizations. All this work is underway. We know this is hard work, but this is just kind of ideas of, if it's not going to be somebody coming fresh out of high school, who else is there? just a grassroots approach to meeting people where they are, and talking to people in church groups or wherever. And again, the challenge is there's not a lot of gathering going on right now, but how can we help and work together with our OMJ partners and everybody else to make the pitch. The adult diploma program at the LCJVS is another opportunity. There are 2 manufacturing occupations as part of that program. The Aspire program at L3C is a great program. That's for students who are getting their GED. There's talk of an entry-level manufacturing training program in partnership with the Lorain County Manufacturing Sector Partnership. So again, taking those students and really getting them focused on manufacturing is a great opportunity once they have their GED. And then, as Christian mentioned, the LCJVS 9th and 10th grade students. There's been good work underway in the state about having high school students come in and do earn and learn programs, and we can share that information with you. Tony, I'll get that to you. All right. So, we feel that the bread and butter of all this is earn and learn programs. We know that it's a great opportunity for employers to preview the work ethic and the skill of students. And it's a great opportunity for the students to preview the employer. Is this the culture fit that I'm looking for? So of course, the benefit for employers is the stable, reliable pipeline, customized training that meets industry needs. So the way that works is, they're doing the related technical instruction, they're doing their coursework at either Lorain County Community College or the JVS, but then they're coming back into your doors to do that on-the-job training, and that's where that customization really takes place. We know that people who pursue an earn and learn program have enhanced retention. And it's a safer workplace because you're, instead of taking somebody right off the street, you're continually training them to those safety standards. For the employees, they love the job security, innovative job on the job training that they can bring back. Our experience at the college is that students who are trained 2 days a week at L3C and then are in the workplace 3 days a week, they are able to bring their lessons right back to the classroom and talk to their classmates about that, talk to their faculty members about that. And, let's say that they had a challenge at work or they weren't really sure what to do. That can come right back to the classroom as a teaching moment. And of course, the instructors and the staff at both L3C and LCJVS are in close contact with those employers. And then wage increases are of interest to up to these students. So, right.
Bernie, you want me to talk about this? And I know Courtney,
Right.
Courtney Tenover's online too. So Courtney, certainly feel free to jump in. My name is Tony Schweppe. I'm manager of business engagement with the college and our business growth services. So these are some examples of earn and learn programs. We mirror this after a model after Kentucky fame. We call it Train Ohio. Bernie just mentioned where students can attend school full time 2 days a week. So they're taking classes 2 days, for example, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and they're being sponsored by an employer the other 3 days. So they're working 8 hours a day on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So they're earning wages that either to help pay for bills, help pay for their tuition, and they're getting everything all at once. Currently, we have Train Ohio programs in our MEMS program, which is our micro electrical mechanical systems. And the newer ones are automation engineering and cyber and information security. And then there's some upcoming programs that Courtney is working on with our engineering division in our digital fab and in our machining areas. And then 2 other examples wanted to talk about is the registered apprenticeship programs. Obviously, the college provides related course instruction for apprenticeship programs. We can also be the apprenticeship sponsor of record, meaning that you, the employer, do not have to work with the state apprenticeship office to do all the paperwork. We would take care of that, provide the related course instruction. Basically, if we are the sponsor of the apprenticeship, you, the employer, only need to track the OJT so we can make sure we document those required hours. And then as always, we can do customized training. Those are areas that are currently, we can explore other occupational areas, but customized training is really what you need, what the industry partner needs. Sometimes it's a 4-credit class you may look into, a short-term certificate, or you might pull pieces and parts out of certain courses or programs and customize it based on what you need. And then we can create that customized training for you as well. So Bernie, do you want to take that?
Yep. Yeah. So, I think that one of the key messages today is that we're all in this together. We've got such a robust talent in our county that are really dedicated to solving this issue for our manufacturers. And we all work together like a hand in a glove. So, we are just, how we can all help you is with recruitment. And recruitment, what we know from our colleagues around the state is that there's nothing more powerful than the employer standing with the educational institution when we're trying to recruit students into these programs. Because, frankly, moms are big influencers for students. And if a mom comes to an event or attends an online event and hears a message like this, where there are 5 employers saying, yes, we can hire your student. I mean, of course they have to meet the bar, but they'll, if your student commits to the learning, there are opportunities available. And also, we can all help with the application process. So if it's something with registered apprenticeships or just enrollment, or if it's assessments, there are plenty of people on this call who can help with that. Connecting funding with opportunity. As was mentioned prior, Tech Cred is a great opportunity. We were just on a call this morning, and it was the message was that they're hoping that Tech Cred has been included in the current version of the state budget, but of course that goes through many iterations before approval. So we'll stay tuned on that one. And then working with OMJ, Ohio Means Jobs, to identify other state and federal training reimbursement opportunities, of which there are many. And then connecting expertise with opportunities, working with employers to determine the training model that best suits their needs. So, and L3C and LCJVS can certainly sit down with employers and identify what are those competencies that you're looking for and how can we train to those competencies. And if the programs that we're currently offering aren't meeting that need, let us know. We're open to revising or even initiating new programs to meet employer needs. And then, of course, we've mentioned that if you have an interest in registered apprenticeship programs and you aren't that interested in doing all the paperwork for that, L3C has a great staff that can help with that. This is also handy for, let's just say you have one employee that you'd like to send for a registered apprenticeship program. We can help in sponsoring that employee. You don't have to have 10, 15, 20 employees to put through. So we can help offload some of that for you. Any questions on that?
All right, so we're gonna then shoot this over to Mike Longo from Ohio Means Jobs, Lorain County, and Mike is gonna talk a little bit about some of the funding opportunities that are out there for you as employers.
Great, thank you, Tony, and nice to see the faces that I haven't seen in a while and the names of those as well that don't have their cameras on. But I'm happy to be here this morning and to share information that some of you may already be aware of. But I think one of the most important things to recognize before I go into the detail of our training funds is, there's so many different programs and names. And, if you happen to be working with one of us as a partner, I would suggest that you're always asking whomever it is, be it the chamber, the college, the JVS, how to get connected with the other partners. Because while we're trying to convey this information, it can be very overwhelming. It's a lot of information and there's a lot of resources. So I say that just in a sense of trying to help better connect. Some of the funds that we have available that are particular to the employer specifically, and trying to figure out how to connect them. On-the-job training dollars is one of our approaches to be able to help new hires and incumbent employees that actually meet our program eligibility with helping to offset up to $3,000 worth of training cost. And the OJT program is designed for the employer to help identify what the particular training is for the individual that's being hired, how long that training is anticipated to be. And the way that we establish how much we're able to help with the public workforce funds is to multiply the rate of pay that that individual earns times the number of training hours. And we'll be able to help with half of that cost with a cap of $3,000. So you take somebody, maybe you have a 6-month training program that you as an employer have in place, and we multiply those hours times the rate of pay. We figure out what that dollar amount is. If it's $5,000, we're potentially able to help with $2,500 worth of public workforce dollars. The payment structure is set up that as the individual completes the training, and this is all verifiable through payroll records. When they finish the training, the employer is eligible to apply for the first half of the payment. And after 90 additional days of retaining the position, the employer could request to get their second half of the payment. The paperwork is pretty minimal in a sense of setting up the training outline and getting paid. The biggest challenge with OJT is that we're always looking for employers to help reverse refer people to us. So when you're hiring somebody, knowing that we have eligibility criteria, helping us get the paperwork in place to make sure that person is eligible for the public workforce dollars that we have to be able to show when we're monitored. And sometimes that could get to be a little bit convoluted and complex, but we try to remove the barriers and help with that to the best of our ability. So on the job training, eligibility in place, person needs to be referred to us. We always suggest that employers present to a potential new hiree that they're working with Ohio Means Jobs to help offset training costs. And that's why they're being connected with our system, so they understand why we might be asking for some of the information we do in determining that eligibility. Another source of funding, though, and this is funding that was approved in February of 2020, so right before pandemic, was incumbent worker training funds that the public workforce system has available. And these funds, I really think, can be very beneficial because eligibility does not have anything to do with income. So you could have your existing workforce. You could have somebody that's earning $80,000 a year that's going to qualify for these particular training funds, where we're able to help offset different percentages of the training cost based upon the size of your business. So if you're a small employer, and small is defined as 50 or less, we're able to help offset potentially 90% of the training cost. And that could include the training that the college might be providing, the JVS might be providing, some other vendor might be providing. So maybe you bring in a new piece of equipment and the vendor of the equipment's going to come in and provide training to your existing employees. That's something where we would be able to help with incumbent worker training funds. Ideally, we're looking for some form of an industry recognized certificate or a minimal wage gain to support use of these dollars. However, that's not a requirement. So if we're able to support that your business is just trying to be more competitive, that could be a valid reason to approve incumbent worker training dollars. We also, based upon a mid-size employer, 50 to or 51 to 100 employees are able to offset up to 75% of the cost. And then for a large employer, 101 or more employees, up to 50% of the cost. So that's a pretty significant savings. And right now there's no caps in place. So if your training was $50,000 and eligible cost were at $50,000 and you're a small employer, we could potentially help with $45,000 of training cost, and the business is going to put $5,000 into that equation. So as you can see, that's a very good means of trying to offset training costs. The other funding stream that's on the slide here is for Ohio Tech Cred, and many employers are informed of that. There's a very good marketing and outreach for that particular funding stream, but Tech Cred can help with a state funding of up to $2,000 per industry recognized credential that an employer is going to offer for their employees. But our funding could also tie into this nicely as well. So while you see that there's a $2,000 cap, and that will be for incumbent workers, our program dollars might allow you to go above that $2,000 cap. So let's say you put in your application for Tech Cred, and the training is going to be $10,000 for your employee, and the state approves the $2,000, you could potentially be working with us to also consider funding some of that remaining $8,000 to cover even more cost with your incumbent worker Tech Cred funded training. So as you can see, we have plenty of workforce dollars to contribute. We're happy to be a partner. We're happy to be part of the Lorain County Manufacturing Sector Partnership. It's giving us the opportunity to build better relationships with the employers, and we want to have great relationships with the employers of Lorain County and make sure we're doing our best to help you build your businesses and your employees. So I'm happy to take any questions now or later in the presentation.
Hey, Mike, it's Bernie. I just, our slide shows like at least 10% of cost. So just to clarify, that's the employer portion, right?
That's correct.
Mm-hmm. And then the public workforce system would provide 90%.
Right.
Okay.
So the employer has to be able to show that they're able to cover those percentages of the cost. And those percentage of the cost, just without having too much detail on this slide, an employer that's paying their employee, the training, the cost of paying the employee, the wages that they're earning while they're training, that's not something we're able to cover, but that is something that is what we accept for the employer to be covering their share of the equation. So if you're paying your employee, and let's say there's a 40-hour work week that they're going to training, those 40 hours of wages could be the employer's portion of the percentage that we're looking at them to be able to commit.
Okay, thanks, Mike. And just to kind of make this, I guess, ring a little bit true in a real life situation, we've got Ryan Bixler from Betcher, who is going to talk about his experience in utilizing some of these programs and what Betcher was able to parlay into helping them make this all work. Ryan, it's up to you.
Thank you. Again, I'm Ryan Bixler, HR manager at Betcher Industries, and I am primarily responsible for the hourly shop floor and basically everything that supports it, whether it's production scheduling, maintenance, and quality. So we have utilized, well, I should say over the last 4 years, I've been asked to really kind of dive into and focus on developing relationships with Lorain County JPS and Lorain County Community College. We have had, and this number is really crazy, since the end of 2017, we've had over 1,100 years of service retire from the company. So it's an astounding number. I mean, when I started, we had about 20 people with 40 years or more, and we have one left. That's how much retirement has gone on and left the organization, and has left us with having to figure out how to backfill those gaps. And I can tell you, going out and trying to find a skilled CNC machinist and come in and work, they're just not there. And so we've learned that we have to create and build our own. So that led to some conversations, and Betcher was a part of creating a founding member of the Lorain County Manufacturing Sector Partnership. And through that partnership and relationships with JVS and LC, we have utilized several different avenues for creating our talent and monies that have been available. The registered apprenticeship that was spoken about before, we utilize that through Lorain County Community College, and Tammy and Chrissy help us with all of the paperwork and the apprenticeship. They're the sponsor. We are to get them the hours, and that's been a great relationship. We work with JVS high school, Mr. Green, and adult JVS with Ralph Bentley and Christian. And then also, again, at Lorain County Community College with short-term certificates that count towards tech cred. So we've utilized money from tech cred. And as Mike Longo was just speaking about, we had money from tech cred, but then we also had the cost of the classes were a little bit more. So then we dipped into the incumbent worker training money. And it's been a great relationship. It's been, a lot of learning for myself, and the help of Lorain County Manufacturing Sector Partnership has really gotten me to understand and be to the point where we're bringing in, we're not necessarily having to pay for all the training dollars. As we know, 2020 was a difficult year and our budgets really got slashed, especially for training. So we wanted to see how we could still continue doing training and developing our employees without having to spend all that money. And these are the funds, the tech cred, the incumbent worker training is how we have utilized and been able to continue training people even through, the hard time of the last 14 months. So that's all I have. If there's any questions, it's a lot, really. It is a lot, and it's been 4 years of some really good work and developing some really great relationships.
Anybody have any questions for Ryan? Obviously, he's lived it. He's seen it. He's made himself look good to his higher ups by saving the company some money, which is always beneficial. And you guys have gotten, ultimately, Ryan, you guys have gotten some great hires, I'm assuming.
Yeah. I forgot to say, I was talking to you guys yesterday and said 10% of our hourly workforce has come through either through JVS or Lorain County Community College. So I rechecked my numbers, and I had one of our production supervisors check it with me. It's actually 20%. It was actually twice what I thought. So one out of every 5 people have either gone through the apprenticeship, the high school JVS, the adult JVS, or the short-term certificates. It's pretty an astounding number, 20% of our population.
Yeah, that's an awesome number. That obviously there's a lot of people on this call that are here to help our manufacturers, and we wanted Ryan to be able to actually tell like a real life story. So thank you, Ryan, for sure. Mm-hmm. Bernie, I'm not sure who, I can't remember. Are you going over this, or who was? Yeah, I'll toss it to you then for our final slide.
Yeah, so, as we talk about earn and learn, so Ryan and Mike talked a lot about funding for the earn side of the house. And then, so where do the students, the learners, get some funding? And there's plenty of funding out there for them also. So Elyria Skill City Promise looks to be a recent program that was launched, and that's for students who are residents of the city of Elyria. Lorain County Community College, we know that students have barriers. It could be childcare, it could be transportation. There's many barriers, and there are there's many ways that those barriers are addressed throughout this county. But if it's a student at L3C, there is an advocacy and resource center at the college that can help students access food, counseling, financial, and other resources. There's a ton of scholarships at L3C. I just dropped the link in there. Everybody will get this PowerPoint afterwards, so you can check that out. Success Corps Scholars Program. Courtney, are you still with us? Do you want to talk about this for a second?
Yeah, I'm still here. So we have a Department of Labor grant, Success Corps, and it's aimed at ages 16 through 24. So students have to meet some levels of eligibility, but it's just barriers like income, age, drawing a blank, but there's, the general eligibility requirements for certain programs. But there's funding where it's no cost to the participants. So we're able to cover their full tuition through other funding sources like ARC, scholarships, and then there's money in the grant to cover any other tuition. The student does receive a laptop through the program. If they have barriers to Wi-Fi, internet, we're there. The program's there to break down any of those barriers of them completing the program. So they get 1 year of counseling to get them through that career technical program, and then 1 year of employment. So hopefully working with a lot of you to then help place these students in jobs that you have open. And we were able to submit all of our short-term and 1 year certificates through the grant. So students are available to complete any of those certificates through the program. So it can't be a student that's currently enrolled at the college, but if you know of anyone that could be interested, please send them our way, and we have counselors that can help them through the program.
Great, thanks for that. And then Lorain County JVS also has scholarship information. The link is there for you to look at that. And then Mike, do you want to just mention this quickly, the OMJ funding, the Occupational Skills Training Funds?
Sure. So we assist folks who are pursuing training. Many of these programs that have been mentioned in the presentation here today, individuals qualify for our resources to pay for up to $7,500 for a 1 year program and $15,000 for a 2 year program. So that could be a short-term certificate program. It could be an associate degree program. It could be somebody who has finished their associate degree and comes to us trying to work on their bachelor's degree. And we've got up to $15,000 to throw in to help offset loans.
Thanks, Mike. So as you can see, there's funding on both sides of the equation here, and if you can effectively braid this funding, it's a really low cost, out of pocket endeavor for these students, and they can really capitalize on all these opportunities.
Thanks, Bernie. One of the things that's not on here, but since Bernie sort of mentioned it in the ARC funding, transportation being an issue sometimes for employees, the Chamber, along with Move Lorain County, is working with Togus Products and United Way and our Lorain County transportation person to see if there's a way for us to utilize some dollars that are available through Ohio Means Jobs Lorain County to help provide some transportation dollars to get people to and from work. Obviously, we realize that transportation is an issue, and a lot of times that's an issue that affects the employee and then by default affects the employer because either they don't show up or can't show up. So we're trying to look at all avenues. We're trying to look at everything that is affecting our manufacturers and businesses in Lorain County. So I guess I just wanted to mention that as well too. There's a lot of things that are still sort of out there. We're working on it kind of one step at a time. So with that, I will open it for Q&A. If anybody has any questions, now's the time to please unmute yourself and ask a question. We've got about 6 minutes before the top of the hour, and we'd be happy to answer any questions. Or just unmute yourself and say you learned something, or you didn't realize that there was something available. Hopefully that's the case. Well, I will.
I'm sorry. This is, I'm sorry. I had technically challenged and finding the unmute button. This is Joe Smith, Agronomics. I did have a quick question. I saw there was a millwright apprenticeship on the list there at LCCC, but then I went to the website and I didn't find the millwright.
Joe, I think what's going on with the millwright, Tim Bruning, who retired about a year ago, he was running that program. The college is in the process of, they just hired somebody who's going to pull those millwright courses off the shelf, update those. So they're looking to offer those. I was told, because I work with a lot of like Ford and GM for some of their apprenticeship programs, and millwright is a big need for them. I was told potentially in the fall there might be some millwright courses being able to be offered in the fall.
Okay, all right, thank you. And in general, thank everybody for the presentation. This is all good information. I've seen some of it before, but it's there's always something new to take away from it. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Well, I think Bernie alluded to it. We are going to attempt to send everybody a copy of this PowerPoint presentation. I think we're going to try and make it available on the Lorain County Manufacturing Sector Partnership, as well as the Chamber and everybody else's website, just so it is a little bit accessible for you guys. As I also said, we are planning on sending you out the brochures for the employer as well as the employee or student for the Lorain County Manufacturing Sector Partnership. Anybody have anything else to add? Judith, did you have anything you wanted to include or say?
Just to second the comments that I think this went very well, and hopefully the employers gain some additional information on opportunities, and then just to again share that the sector partnership members are working collectively to identify common needs and then work with our training providers to put together programs to meet those common needs. So the employers on the participating today that might have interest in looking at how to work together to create some programming for specific needs, please consider reaching out to the sector partnership. And I know Ryan and Larry, and as well as Molly Lucas, who's on, would be happy to answer any questions.
All right. Thanks, Judith. It's 9:57. I guess you guys just got back 3 minutes of your time today. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I appreciate everybody who participated today too. We've been working on this for many, many weeks, and I think it worked out well, and I think we got all the information that needed to be out there. So
Tony,
at some point, I think we'll be doing a postmortem. Did I just hear somebody say something?
Tony, I'm thinking that most of us employers are in the same boat. It's just so hard to find the people that we need. And I wonder if there's any point in kind of developing some kind of a shared document or some vehicle where we can share with each other what we're looking for, because we're all bringing in resumes and taking applications. And it may be that some of us are picking up some that might be good for others and vice versa. And I just wonder if there might be a vehicle that we could use to share some of these resumes with others.
And I think the vehicle, I'm
Tony,
gonna, yeah, go ahead.
Tony,
I was just going to
can I do it?
Go ahead, Ryan.
So Rob, this is very much part of the reason why we created the sector partnership, is so we can do that. I know I have shared, I know Togus has shared, I know Molly at AJ Rose has shared, and it's one of those things that they might not be a perfect fit for my company, or maybe we had one maintenance opening, but we had 3 good candidates, and we've sent it out to others to say, hey, there's 2 really good maintenance candidates available if anybody has the job opening. And so I would say joining the sector partnership is a great way to connect. And again, it's about, we're all competing for the same talent, but if we get together and attack it all as one, it's a lot, it helps us all.
There you go. That couldn't have ended on a better note, I don't think. So with that, I'm going to thank everybody for coming, and the partners here will do a postmortem either later this week or sometime next week. So again, thanks again, everybody.